So then we move on to the next fight. This one is John the Magician Dodson versus Merab the Machine Dvalishvili. John Dodson, he's ranked number 12. He's the American. He's 21-11. He's 35 years old, 5 feet 3 inches tall, 1 inch shorter than me. He's 10-6 in the UFC, and he's currently on a 1-fight win streak with an impressive 3rd-round knockout over Nathaniel Wood. That was a really fun, exciting fight. I was kind of falling off the John Dodson train. That fight really made me excited to watch him fight some more in the future. But then he's fighting Merab Dvalishvili from Georgia. He's 11-4, 29 years old, 5 feet 6 inches tall, and he's 4-2 in the UFC. He's currently on a 4-fight win streak. All of them are by decision. One of them was a loss to Ricky Simone. Let's just talk about
our
that
guy
one.
Ricky.
Let's just get that one out of the way because we're talking about that one. So Mareb was winning that fight.
Absolutely. He was actually out wrestling Ricky.
He probably took 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 scorecards, out wrestled Ricky. Honestly, it really wasn't super close. I think that each round was definitive for Mareb. There wasn't a ton of damage being done, but it was a grappling match. It was a wrestling match, and Mareb was winning it.
Mm-hmm.
Then, with like 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, it might have been less than that left, Mareb shoots in, and Ricky locks in a guillotine. Ricky Simone locks in this guillotine. He holds it, flips him over. Mareb's like kicking his feet. His feet are just in the background, just kicking, looking like he's swimming.
He's trying to make it. What he was doing was he was trying to show the ref that I'm not out. The only problem is
maybe it was just instinct though, right? Because you sometimes when people get knocked out, they twitch. Some people when they get submitted or when they get choked out, they twitch too.
Right,
like,
but he wasn't out yet when he started kicking. He started kicking instantly.
Well, the problem that we had is that his eyes were open.
So,
and that's what made everybody think that he was still awake, is that his eyes were open. But even afterwards, so the bell rings.
That's where the problem comes in, is after the bell rings, his legs were still kicking.
Still kicking. Ricky Simone stands up above him. He's out. He's out. Points down at him. Yep. Tells the ref he's out. And the ref looks. He's signaling the fight's off. We're not sure what happens until they announce.
Because it looked like the ref just called the fight because
was over
the decision.
Because you heard that last bell. You heard that last bell, so it looked like that. They bring him out to the center, and we're like, I don't know. Did they call him? Did they call it? Because he was out. He was out. Yeah. And then there was the debate by everybody. He wasn't out. His eyes were open. He was kicking his feet. Well, I've been choked out, and I had like a little mini seizure where I choked out cold, and I was twitching and freaking out everywhere, and foam started coming out of my mouth. I had another buddy who got choked out by a guillotine, and his arm was off to the side flapping like this, and we thought he was tapping out. But he was just choked out.
Yeah.
And his arm was flapping. So sometimes when you do get submitted, there are things that happen when you get choked unconscious, you get knocked out. Your body does some stuff sometimes that you don't have control of. It doesn't mean that you're still awake. It doesn't mean that you're still conscious. And this just happened to be that situation there. So Merab won 15 minutes of a fight, 14 minutes and 45 seconds of a fight.
Hail Mary.
And then it's exactly what it was. It was that Hail Mary, right? So that ended up costing him that fight there. So realistically, you want to see how he's done. You can compare him overall in those last 5 fights, and he looks good in all 5 of them.
Yeah. I mean, he essentially won all 5 of them.
All 5 of those. He won them.
Essentially,
yeah. So that scorecard might say that he didn't, but you know what? It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a good fight.
And then his other loss, though, was a split decision loss. Mm-hmm. So he fought Frankie Saenz, who didn't look so good in his last fight, but he lost that one by a split decision. That's his other loss in the UFC. So he's looked in his entire career in the UFC, he's looked pretty good. Merab is a monster. Before coming to the UFC, he was the Ring of Combat 135-pound champion, and he's a black belt in judo. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything else you want to say about these? I didn't really jump on Dodson yet.
But. Yeah, I mean, you're good. I mean, I could talk about Dodson for a little bit here because, he was the very first bantamweight winner of The Ultimate Fighter.
Yep.
After The Ultimate Fighter, I think he had to fight at 135 and then ended up dropping down to 125, where he won a couple fights, fought Mighty Mouse for the title.
Yep.
Lost. Went on to win a few more fights, fought Mighty Mouse again and lost.
Now, before that, though, who did he beat in the finals on The Ultimate Fighter?
I don't remember.
TJ Dillashaw. He beat T.J. Dillashaw to win the Ultimate Fighter.
There you go.
So that was a huge win for him. T.J. Dillashaw went on to be a 135-pound champion. A lot of people have him in talks as potentially being maybe one of the GOATs. 135 is so talent stacked right now, and the competition's so close that there's 3 or 4 names out there in competition for GOAT right now, 135.
Yeah. And then so after that, he ended up going back up to 135, where he's kind of had an up and down career ever since.
Yeah.
He'll win, lose, something kind of like that.
And he's getting up there a little bit in age right now. He's 35 years old now. So he's 35, 21-11, 10-6 in the UFC. So he's up there. But that last fight against Nathaniel Wood, he looked good.
It was a fun fight, man.
Nathaniel Wood's a guy that I'm pretty big on right now. I think that Nathaniel Wood's going to be around the UFC for a long time. I think he's going to be exciting for the UFC for a long time. I thought that he was going to win that fight against John Dodson.
So did I.
Dodson and him, they had a very close fight.
I think he was winning up until that finish.
I don't know.
It might have been 1-1 maybe.
I think it was probably 1-1. It was a close fight. Dodson looked really good. He looked much better than I had anticipated him looking. It was a much closer fight. Overall, though.
Dodson does contain a ton of power for a 135er.
Yeah, he's got 10 knockouts.
Yeah.
10 knockouts, but he also has 9 decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He's been around MMA for a long time. He's also one of the guys that helps coach over there at the Jackson Winklejohn team camp. So he's very knowledgeable in the sport. Not just in the fighter aspect, but on the detail aspect and the coaching aspect. So he's kind of got a jack of all trades in MMA right there.
Yeah.
With what he can do. It's pretty exciting to see.
It's going to be a classic grappler versus striker matchup.
I'm really excited about this one. This is going to be a fun one, but you have to pick a winner, and ultimately, I think that Dvalishvili takes another decision.
Yep. He's never been knocked out either, so I don't see Dodson knocking him out.
No.
He's gonna win a decision is what I have too, because I think his only losses have come by submission, or a couple of his losses I think for Merab were by submission, but I don't see John Dodson tapping him out. So.
No, I don't think that'll happen.
No.
That in that one by submission to Ricky Simone, not really a submission.
Yeah. So I mean, if we look at this, really, it's going to be another Mareb decision. He's not a big finisher.
No.
I think the last 4 wins he has have all been by decision.